Championship week is on the horizon, and that means it's time to pull out all the stops. We're here to help today with some two-start pitchers and streaming options to help put you over the top.
It's about that time.
Stone on Sports.
How's it going, everyone? You're tuned into Stone Down Sports Fantasy Baseball. My name is Matt. Got the co-host Kyle here with me today. And that's right. We are on the lead in to championship week. Congratulations to those of you still alive, still fighting. And for those of you that are eliminated, well, there's always next year. But you know who's not eliminated? The Detroit Tigers. They are in a tie for the final wild card spot with the Twinkies. Just 3 series to go, dude. And 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, who'd have thought we would be here?
It's amazing. It really is. And you look at the remaining games for the Tigers and the Twins, and you like the Tiger schedule going forward. So I'm excited. It's football. It's baseball. I'm going to have like 2 TVs on all weekend with football and baseball. So, God, I love it.
You and me both, buddy. You and me both.
First guy we got for you here is a 2-start option. Jose Quintana with the Mets on the road at Atlanta and Milwaukee. I think he's firmly in the streamer category for fantasy purposes next week. He's been pretty good in 4 starts from early to mid-August. He sucked then. He gave up 19 earned runs in over 20 innings pitched. But on August 25th, he had a start then, and it's like a switch was activated inside his brain. Through yesterday, he's won 4 straight starts while allowing just 1 earned run total in his last 5 outings of 32 innings pitched. Since the 25th of August, he's starting pitcher number 17, averaging 18.3 points per outing. On the year, got a respectable ERA, 3.74, whips 127. It's got a winning record, just barely at 10-9 in his 30 starts, and 12 of those went for quality starts. So, nobody's perfect, right? Strikeout rates below average, about 4% at below average at 18.1, and it's his lowest rate ever in the majors. Walk rate's not too horrible at 8.8, but it is a bit higher. 1.5% higher than his career average. A couple things working in his favor are his strand rate. Through 30 innings or through 30 starts, he's almost 78%. That's about 6% higher than the league average. And his BABIP is 30 points below the average as well. So he's definitely seen, a bit of luck this season. Swing and misses, so swinging strike rates pretty low, 8.5%. Whiff rates in the bottom 5th in the league. However, his chase rates not too bad at just over 28%. And Quintana's the type of pitcher that pitches to contact. His zone and chase contact rates are both about 5% higher than the major league average. But it's what happens with those batted balls that's key for him, I think. First is the EV. It's pretty low at 88 miles an hour. Second, he limits hard hit balls, hard hit rates in the 60th percentile. He's improved that year over year by about 5%, and his barrel rate is pretty damn nice too. And third, when you combine those first 2 things I talk about with the ground ball rates, 47% of the time he's inducing a ground ball, and a ground ball that most likely was not smoking off the bat, right? With the low EV matchups, couple tough teams, right? They've been good at Atlanta, at Milwaukee. Atlanta the last couple days, top 12 in hits, runs, and RBIs. They still walk a ton, and they haven't struck out much. With how well Quintana's been pitching, plus that ground ball rate in a hitter's park, I'll take the gamble. And Milwaukee, he'll be pitching there the last game of the season. They haven't been as good. 27th in hits, 18th in runs and RBIs. They will draw a walk, and they're about mid-pack in strikeouts. Good option next week. Still plenty available, only at 38% owned. So grab them if you need them.
Hey, there's folks out there that do, and was just talking with Dubo there in the chat. He's our resident Twins fan. Man, these last 3 series, Detroit gets Baltimore, Tampa, and the White Sox, and there is a distinct possibility that Detroit could go into that series still fighting for that wild card spot, and the White Sox could be fighting to not be the worst team ever.
Yeah. Yep. It'll be, God, it's going to be exciting to watch. It really is. Great. It's awesome. I hope we take it, Dubo. No offense, but
Oh no, all offense intended. That shit's ours.
It'll be great to see how it shakes out, though. I'm excited. Next guy we got for you is Tigers pitcher Keider Montero. His ERA has dropped nearly a full run thanks to some of his recent performances and is pitching for the hottest frickin' team in baseball right now. Matt, you like him next week to stream against the Rays? Tell everybody more about that.
Yeah, let me get to I'll scroll down too far. Yes, he is a stream against Tampa. Tampa has scored the second fewest runs. They've got the sixth most strikeouts, the fifth fewest walks, with a 236 team average and a 668 OPS. And he had a shaky start to his big league career, and that's not something that's new to him. But since August 17th, brother, he has been the tits. In 6 starts, he's 3-1 with a 2.70 ERA, a FIP of 3.53. While there is a difference there indicating he's been a bit lucky, a 3.53 FIP is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
He's got a 2.31 average against, a 6.12 OPS against, 22 strikeouts, 10 walks, giving up just a pair of home runs in 33 1/3, and that includes a complete game shutout against the Colorado Rockies. And he'd been efficient with his pitches as well, with a 67% strike rate. And that's what we like to see, right? We want to see pitchers throw about 2/3 strikes. Season-long numbers, obviously, based on a little intro there, not as good. 6-6 with a 4.60 ERA. FIP is a touch higher. XFIP about a half a run lower. A 127 whip, 66 strikeouts, 27 walks, 14 home runs, and 88 innings pitched. That's a lot of dongs in a short amount of time, dude, with a home run per 9 of almost 1.5. But as I mentioned just a moment ago, actually over his last 38 1/3, he's only allowed the 2. And he saw a big uptick in his strikeouts last season and early this year in the minors, but it's not really carried over to the show. He's striking out just 18.3% of batters, and that puts him at 675 per 9. Not a whole lot of swing and miss with him either. His swinging strike rate is just a tick below 9% and a whiff rate of 20.7%. That puts him towards the bottom of the league. That said, he makes up for it by pounding the zone early and often. He's got an excellent 67% first pitch strike rate, and he works in the zone 54% of the time. Both of those marks are way above average. You love to see that. Thank you, Chris Fetter. He's also not going out there and beating himself. He's walking just 7.5% of batters, and he's under 3 per 9. He's not fooling many, though. He's got a chase rate of just 26%, and that puts him about in the bottom 5th of the league. He does give up a bit of contact. He's a little over 81% overall and 89.4% in the zone. Those numbers are higher than we like to see, but he does have the benefit of having one of the better defenses behind him and a great pitcher's park to play in. And like we've said all year, when it comes to contact, we want to see pitchers below 80% and as low as possible in the zone. Quality of contact isn't too bad. Exit velocity is a hair high at 89.2, and it doesn't induce a whole lot of weak contact. His barrel rate is really good at just 6%, and his hard hit rate is better than average at 37.7. He gives up a few more line drives than we'd like to see, with a rate of 26.4%, with a fly ball rate a little higher than average, and a ground ball rate a little below. He does get pulled more than most, but again, that big park really helps to mitigate that. Tampa has been on the struggle bus, to say the least. Detroit really has something to play for, and Montero has really stepped up here over the past 6 weeks or so. I think he's a damn good stream option next week.
Yeah, for sure. To some degree, he's really had to learn on the fly this season, and he's done a damn good job of it. And I think he's done. I mean, the pitching staff for the Tigers has been really, really good from starters to bullpen. But Montero's really, with his breakthrough, he's really kind of rescued that staff.
Yeah, it has. So we've got a 2-start option here for you. Of the LA Angels, we're going to talk about Griffin Canning. He's got to start at the White Sox, which you couldn't ask for a better one than that. And then at home against Texas. Texas, they've been roughly mid-pack in terms of runs. They're not striking out or walking much. A 218 team average, 653 OPS. Or no, I'm sorry, he doesn't have 2 starts. He's just got the one against Texas. See,
yeah.
I
I'm
love
just like,
when this
I'm-
happens. We
I'm-
make this list and then shit changes in the middle of the day.
It does. I just remembered that. I was like, wait a minute, he lost that.
My bad. Canning, though, has been really good in 4 of his last 5 starts with a stinker mixed in there. And 3 of those starts were quality starts. 2-2 with a 3.99 ERA, a 4.43 FIP, 27 strikeouts, 13 walks, 4 home runs, but 3 of those came in that shitty start across 29 and a third innings pitched. And this season for him has been a mixed bag. He's had some really good starts and he's had some blowups. On the year, he's just 6-13 with a 5.16 ERA. FIP is about the same. XFIP's a little bit lower. A 138 WHIP, 123 strikeouts, 61 walks, 28 home runs. Oh my God, this guy just keeps getting slapped in the face with the dong across 162 and a third. His whip is high due to a relatively high walk rate that's almost 9%, and he's walking almost 3.5 per 9. And I'll let you guys in here on a little secret. That originally said his whip is high due to a high amount of walks and hits, and that would have been the absolute worst analysis ever because that's literally what whip is: walks and hits per innings pitched. He does help himself a little with a better than average chase rate, though. But when you're struggling to get first pitch strikes and don't spend as much time in the zone as you should, the walks are going to follow. He's seen a big dip in his strikeouts over where he's been in years past. He's striking out just 17.6% of batters, where he was at 26% last season. And he's a little under 7 per 9. He is capable of giving you a strikeout per inning, though, like most pitchers in the league. And despite that low rate, there's a bit of swing and miss with him. His 11.1% swinging strike rate is a tick better than league average, and his 24.8% whiff rate is just a little bit below. Contact metrics, they ain't too bad. 76.9% rate works for me, and while he's a little worse than average in the zone, 87.1% is perfectly fine. Quality of contact, it's not amazing, but I've seen worse. His EV is in the bottom 10% of the league at 90.6 miles an hour. An 8.8% barrel rate and 41% hard hit rate are both in the bottom third, but not by a whole lot. He does get an okay amount of weak contact, too. That said, there aren't really that many batters coming up that scare me. So, I'm not overly concerned. He gives up quite a few fly balls and gets his fair share of grounders, and he does a decent job of limiting the line drives. He does get pulled a bit, and that's helping to drive his dong total. Texas has hit a few, but I think he'll be okay.
Kelsey, I was referring to the sponsorship there. You on your question there. Griffin Cannings gave up the 3rd most earned runs in the majors this year.
Yeah, I think he gave up the most last year.
Did he? Ugh.
Yeah.
But
and still struck out 26% of guys. Like, how in the shit does that work?
Right.
Oh, well. So by striking out just under a batter per inning lately and shutting down a couple of the best offenses in the league, Hayden Birdsong is looking like a good option next week. What do you think, Kyle?
He is. Yeah, he was great yesterday. Got the win. It was actually his first win since the end of July. 5 2/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 earned, 2 walks, just 3 Ks. Start before last was pretty good too. 2 hits, allowed 1 walk, 5 scoreless innings, just struck out 4. Strikeouts have kind of dropped a little bit for him because he's striking out guys over 27% of the time. His control really, remains a work in progress, but he's shown an ability to at least consistently miss bats. Whiff rate of 29.2 is in the top quarter, but his chase rate 25.7 is no bueno. Strikeout rate that I mentioned before, he's seeing 10 3/4. He's generating 10 3/4 strikeouts per 9 innings. It helps a little bit that he's a flamethrower, tosses almost 96 miles an hour. Now, the term worst in the majors gets thrown around a lot of bit, but Birdsong truly fits the bill in a lot of ways. I'm going to tell you all the bad too, right? We always do. His walk rate, among all pitchers who have faced 250 hitters this season, it's tied for worst in the majors. Hard hit rate, exit velo, among those same pitchers who have faced 250 hitters, worst in the majors. Hard hit rate, 49%. Second worst in the majors. So a lot of bad, but some good too. His league average ground ball rate at 42%. It's good. Too bad it doesn't, mean a lot more because he's still allowing fly balls at a 33% clip. As you might have mentioned, a guy with sky high exit velocity and a fly ball rate, he's had a problem with the long ball. Home runs per 9 is just over 1.5 per game. However, I think versus St. Louis on the 29th, stream him there. I think that should be fine. They've hit the fifth least home runs in the last 2 weeks and the 7th least over the season. And in the last couple weeks, they're also 28th in hits, 29th in runs and RBIs, bottom 5 in walks, and a lot of strikeouts. So with his K per 9, if my back was against the wall in the playoffs, I would definitely start him. Definitely. Headed to Oakland. Mitch Spence, we've talked about him, I think, a handful of times this year. Just got his first win this week, first time since the end of July. Though he's pitched well enough in that couple months time frame to probably earn a couple more. In a 2-start week, can he help playoff managers next week?
Abso-freaking-lutely he can. Those 2 starts against Texas and at Seattle, and we just talked about Texas, and we know what Seattle is. They're an offense that struggled, has some pop, and just strikes out a ton. Mitch Spence has been a top 50 pitcher since August 27th. In 5 starts, he's 1-0 with a 2.70 ERA, a FIP about half a run higher, 22 strikeouts, 7 walks, just a pair of dongs across 26 2/3, and he's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in each of those starts. If he'd been that good all season long, we would not be talking about him right now. On the year, he's 8-9 with a 4.30 ERA. FIP and XFIP are a little bit lower. A 136 whip, 119 strikeouts, 42 walks, 18 home runs across 142 1/3. And obviously, this dude is not a strikeout artist, but he does have 10 strikeout upside. He's usually in the 5 to 6 range, though. His rate is just a little under 20%, and he's punching out 7.5 per 9. His swinging strike rate is a little bit low, but fine at 10.4%. But his whiff rate is in the bottom quarter of the league at 22.3. Is he beating himself? Not on the mound. His walk rate is below 7%, and he's walking just over 2.5 per 9. That's a little surprising because his first pitch strike rate is kind of low, and he's not spending as much time in the zone as he should. There's a benefit to that, though. He's got an excellent 31.6% chase rate. And as we all know, the zone is where you want to be. That's where you're going to get the best results. He gives up a lot of contact, but he's still under the 80% mark. In the zone, he's definitely high, though, at almost 91%. And even though he's in a great pitcher's park, he doesn't have the benefit of a good defense behind him. Quality of contact is less than stellar. His exit velocity is 89.5 miles an hour. Barrel rate's okay at 8.1%. His balls are getting hit hard 41.6% of the time, and he's not inducing much weak contact either. He's shown this season that he can get batters to beat his balls into the ground more often than other pitchers. His fly ball rate is spot on average, and he's keeping the line drives under control. He does get pulled quite a bit, but that ground ball rate has helped to limit the damage. Even though he's got one of the shittier defenses behind him over the last, month or so, we've also seen that, Oakland can score some runs. So I think there's a good chance that he's going to get a decent amount of run support. There's some pop in that lineup. And if you're really desperate, you're pulling out all the stops and doing everything you can to accumulate innings. I think he's a good choice for you.
Yeah. Sorry, typing.
Oh, you're good. In 2 starts since coming off the IL, Clarke Schmidt has an ERA under 2 and faces a struggling Orioles offense. Is he a good option for next week, or is it fool's gold?
I think he actually is. He's been on the injury list for a long, long time, really since the end of May. He's made 2 starts since returning, both no decisions, totaling just over 10 innings, 9 hits allowed, just 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. The 1 start versus Boston was especially good, throwing 86 pitches, 61 of them for strikes, forcing 13 swinging strikes. Blah, blah, blah. Kyle can't talk again. Is anyone surprised? On the year, 13 starts through 71 innings. He's got an ERA of 2.41. His FIP's a little over a run higher and has a 1.13 whip. His walk rate's 7.5 or 7.7, sorry. So that's above average for him. And strikeout rate's nice, just shy of 26%. He has 74 strikeouts in 71 innings pitched and is excellent whiff rate as well. We might as well call it 30%. And swinging strike rate of 12.3 with a called plus swinging strike rate of just over 31%. Those are really good numbers. Generates most of his whiffs and strikeouts from his two most thrown pitches, his cutter, which he throws mostly to left-handed batters, and his sweeper, which he throws mostly to right-handed batters. There's a ton more to like about Schmidt. He's increased his fastball velocity by almost a mile per hour this year to 94.3. He's improved on his EV a bit. It's at 89 miles an hour, which sits just a tick below average, but still improved. Barrel rate is better as well by about half a point. He's in the 63rd percentile. Hard hit rate, you guessed it. It's better year over year by about 4 points, sitting at 37%, puts him in the top third in the major leagues. And he's improved on his batting average, his slugging, his WOBA, both real and expected year over year. And especially on his slugging percentage, down almost 100 points. Pretty damn good. And to top it off, he's got above average ground ball rate. Yeah, his fly ball fly ball rate is above average, but he doesn't let hitters pull it off of him too much. I could be sick too. Guy pounds the zone at pretty much a league average rate, but gives up far less contact, 5% less in the zone and about 3% less in chase zones. And Schmidt pitched versus Baltimore in late April. He got a loss there, 5 2/3, just one earned run, strikeout 5, but he walked 3. That was an eternity ago. Baltimore's been on a spiral. They have lost 8 out of the last 10. They are on the freaking struggle bus. They're last in the last 2 weeks. They are last in hits, runs, RBIs, middle of the pack in walks, and the 9th least Ks. But Clarke strikes out over a hitter about a quarter of the time. Roll him out there on the 26th. Good start. I like him a lot next week. If I was still playing, I would try and get him. But take advice from me, the guy that's not in the fantasy playoffs anymore.
I am still in the fantasy playoffs. Somebody's got to represent for the show.
Sure. All right. Next up, Kyle Gibson has been tagged with at least 5 runs in 5 of his last 6 starts, but Matt thinks he could be a decent stream option next week in Colorado. Care to let us know why?
So this is a desperation play. And what kind of desperation play is it? This is a drink her pretty kind of desperation play. We've taken a chance on him a few times throughout the season. I'm going to do it one last time. The Rockies have been mid-pack and runs, striking out a heck of a lot, not walking much, with a 221 team average and a 669 OPS. On the year, he's 8-7, 4.11 ERA. His FIP and xFIP are right there. A 132 WHIP, 144 strikeouts, 62 walks, 20 dongs across 159 2/3 innings pitched. And he's still enjoying one of the best seasons of his career in terms of strikeouts. He's fanning over 21% of batters, setting down 8.12 per 9. Swinging strike rate's about half a point below average at 10.5%, but that's a good mark for him. Whiff rate is actually better than most at 26.2. He's struggled to get ahead early in the count, throwing first pitch strikes just 57.8% of the time. He's not working the zone much either, with a rate under 47.5%, which is disappointing because, again, that zone is where you want to be. That's led to a walk rate of 9.2%, one of the highest marks of his career, and he's walking 3.5 per 9. He's beating himself far too often. He's also not fooling many with a chase rate of just 26.3%. Contact rates are right around average, maybe a little bit better. He's at 74.4% overall and 86.8 in the zone. Because of his struggles finding the zone, batters have been very patient against him, swinging at just 42.6% of his offerings overall and 61.1% of the time in the zone. Both of those are well below league average. Quality of contact is mostly good. EV is at 88 flat. Barrel rate is high at 8.6%, but he gives up hard hit balls at a 38.7% rate, which is pretty much average. He also induces quite a bit of weak contact. His 4.9% rate is a point better than most. He gets more ground balls than most, which will come in handy in Colorado with his fly ball and line drive rates, pretty much the league norm. He does get pulled a bit, but nothing extreme, and a pulled grounder is better than a pulled fly ball. Again, this dude is a desperation play if you absolutely have to have something, but he has a profile that gives me a bit of confidence heading into his start at Coors Field with the high amount of weak contact, with the ground ball rate, and just that Rockies offense has not been doing well. Understand if you run him out there and he completely shits on his shoes, don't come to me. Like, I'm here to give you ideas. I'm not here to run your team.
Right. I don't know, since we only got one more guy left. Shohei Ohtani today did something that no Major League Baseball player has ever done before. He is the first player to reach the 50-50 club, so 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases. He did it in superior fucking fashion. Two home runs today, 2 stolen bases, and a 5-hit game. I just can't. The dude's a DH all year, and he stole 50 freaking bases. It's amazing. What do you think?
I remember back at the beginning of the season, we kind of compared his recovery to Bryce Harper because they both went through the same thing. Granted, this is Ohtani's second Tommy John surgery, and he's a pitcher, but more from the standpoint of keeping your expectations kind of low, right? You know, we saw Harper, it took, 6 weeks, 2 months, something like that for him to really find his stroke. But Ohtani has not suffered from that at all. Like, he has been fantastic all season long. And look, it hats off to him. I mean, I didn't think he or really anyone would ever go 50-50. I thought if anyone had a chance at it, it would be Ronald Acuna. He went 40-70 last year. And then just kind of thinking around the league, all right, like, who else can do this? And really the only person I could think of that would even have a shot is Ellie De La Cruz, because he's got the power and he's got, a shit ton of stolen bases already.
And a shit ton of strikeouts too. So as soon as he figures that shit out, and
he could end up being the first player in Major League history to lead the league in strikeouts and stolen bases.
That's insane.
It is.
Baseball. It's a crazy effing game. It really is. and you know what's kind of nice is, I'm not a huge Dodgers fan or everything, but I like playoff baseball a lot. It's going to be nice to actually see Shohei Ohtani in the playoffs.
Sure.
First time ever for him. So, all right, we got one more guy.
Yes, we do. So we've been picking on Texas a little bit today, but they have something to offer when it comes to pitching as well. Tell us why Cody Bradford may be able to help us clinch a championship.
Yeah, nice start against Oakland in Oakland on the 25th. He was actually torched in his last start. He had a bad outing. 8 runs earned in 3 2/3 against the Diamondbacks, but the Diamondbacks have been really good. They've scored the most runs in baseball this year, so definitely a difficult matchup to say the least. But before that, Bradford allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in each of his previous 7 outings. In 5 of those starts, he logged at least 6 innings as well. So quality starts there. So everybody has a bad day, right? I mean, even I wake up on the wrong side of the bed sometimes. Usually I just like to roll over and just, go back to sleep, but can't do that. So projected to face the Athletics. Like I said, that's a very friendly pitcher park there. And I think he has the potential to provide great value next week. On the year, he's had 13 appearances, 12 starts, 6-3 record, 3.59 ERA. His FIP is nearly identical, and he has a WHIP under 1. Strikeout rate's a tick above average at 23%. Guess who struck out the 4th most times in baseball? That's right, the Oakland Athletics. Walk rate is freaking excellent. I mean, excellent. It's just 3.5%. It's the 7th best rate in the majors among pitchers who have faced at least 250 hitters. I think his walk rate has a lot to do with his excellent first pitch strike rate. It's at 69%. It's tied for the 12th best among that previous group I just talked about. Fastball velo, it's one of the lowest in the majors, just 89.8 miles an hour, but he does get elite extension. So some of those pitches are looking a hell of a lot faster from the hitter's point of view. A bit of mixed bag on the hard contact. His exit velocity of 89, while not terrible, is still below the league average. And his hard hit rate, on the other hand, is excellent. It's just 35.7%. However, his barrel rate is pretty bad in the 17th percentile. Ground ball rate is bad too, 35.2%. It's in the top 25, bottom quarter of pitchers. Those balls got to go somewhere, right? And they're headed up into the air. Fly ball rate is damn 30%. And his launch angles over 18 degrees, plus his home runs per 9 is at 1.25. It's on the wrong side of 1 there. So there is a concern. Oakland hits a home run off of him. They are tied for 6th in the majors this year with 190. That's one of the things they've done really well out there as a team is crush the damn ball.
Yeah, they have.
A silver lining, though, with that high launch angle, he's inducing pop-ups at 10.5%. That's insanely high. Those are easy outs there, Kemosabe. Oakland last 15 days, they've been hot, second in hits. They haven't scored many runs. They're in the bottom 10, and they are in bottom 8th in walks. Hello. I love that. 3.5% walk rate. And they've struck out the most in the last 2 weeks. So it's a great start. He's still available in 60% of leagues. Excellent choice next week.
I think so too.
Yeah. Anything else?
Go Tigers. There is a chance that the Tigers and the Dodgers could square off in the World Series.
Yeah, there's a chance.
And if that happens, Tigers are going to win. Period.
I hope so. I want them to not just go to the wild card and lose.
Right.
That's one game now, right? That's one game now. The wild card.
No, I think it's 3, but the team with the better record hosts all 3 games.
Okay. All right. Well, what are you going to do, right? That's how it goes. Way she
Kelsey
goes.
Yeah, Kelsey did not like that thought.
No.
Yes. She has taken off.
Bye, she goes. Oh. All right. We are.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, we're going to get out of here. There was something I was going to say. Oh, this is our very last Fantasy Baseball Thursday night show until next season.
Yeah.
There'll be no need to do one next week because playoffs will be over with. We will be back Tuesday, of course, for waivers for that last week. Maybe we'll even talk about some starts there that might happen there late Tuesday night through the rest of the week that could help too. We never know what we'll throw in on that last show there. So we're going to get out of here. Give us a like and subscribe. We'll return Tuesday with the waiver options I just talked about. And in 28 minutes, we'll be over on the Fantasy Football YouTube channel. We preview in week 3. We got some starts and sits for you and some other topics we'll blather on, I'm sure. Have a great night, folks. See you soon. Stay stoned.
I'm not allowed to say anything right here per Kyle, but I appreciate the hell out of all you guys.
Same.